Wanted to start off by thanking one of our listeners, Stacy Kane of St. Louis Community College. Deeply appreciate feedback from a fellow educator, and I will indeed keep at it, reminding us all to live loud and listen more. Episode 2, Warning Labels. Last time, I talked about doing away with worry. How on earth is anyone supposed to accomplish that? Everywhere audiences look, there seems to be no shortage of toxicity. Remember how last time I asked you to start by granting yourself a degree of separation from your surroundings? Let's try that again. Please, silence any sources of electronic interruption and limit external interferences to help make these next few minutes as much about you as possible. One of my favorite artists, Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park, just released his first solo album entitled Post-Traumatic. The opening track features stirring lyrics that are personal, but also universally relatable. Did somebody else define me? Can I put the past behind me? Do I even have a decision, feeling like I'm living in a story already written? Am I part of a vision made by somebody else, pointing fingers at villains, but I'm the villain myself? If you're familiar with rap music, the existence of metaphor is a key element in representing internal conflict. I personally love this idea of self-examination, leading the speaker to include they are, in fact, their own worst enemy. Reflect on your own experience. You ever come across people in conversation that seem to come with their own set of warning labels? Do you have a tendency to introduce yourself by warning your audience of a personal struggle? Maybe it serves as a convenient way of breaking the ice and preparing the folks for the fact that you might be a little different. Who isn't a little bit different? And who says we have to be the same, different, or either one? Dr. Mary Eichen, in her book The Cyber Effect, describes the developing world of social media as an exhibitionist culture. Stop and think about how many times users publish personal activity online. How many times a day do you press the like or share button? Even in smaller, dedicated group functions, it's routine to provide your name, your role, and an interesting fact about yourself. While this practice is intended to facilitate communication and formulate bonds through common interests, exhibitionist tendencies have a negative drawback. This internal obsession to define and label every aspect of ourselves reduces our individuality. Categorizing every aspect of individuals within a culture has a homogenizing effect. Mike Shinoda's line, "Feeling like I'm living in a story already written," touches on this fear. With so much emphasis placed on finding what makes a person unique, how can an individual find worth in doing anything that's already been done? To borrow from the Beatles, there's nothing you can make that can't be made, but you can learn how to be you in time. Discovering your own path and finding what that path means to you, no matter how many or how few others have walked that same path, is how individuals find fulfillment. Self-actuation comes from within, not from labeling ourselves to warn others for what they're about to see. What's normally covered in warning labels? Think about how we label products as good or bad. Surgeon General warnings on cigarettes and alcohol usually caution against something harmful. Why constrain yourself with a bunch of red tape? You aren't a harmful product full of bad things. You know what doesn't come with a warning label? Ice cream. We know it's not healthy, but it's not seen as some bad, awful thing. Yes, prolonged overconsumption can cause problems, but ice cream is something good. It's a treat. I make this comparison because people are a treat to me. There are many people I talk to that all come with their own unique quirks. I stray away from calling them issues because we really are all just different flavors. So whether you're fancy as fine gelato, tart like sorbet, harder than rocky road, or smoother than mint chocolate chip, knowing we all are just bowls of ice cream is a sweeter way to think of what we each have to offer. If you have a personal struggle, or feel like you should come with a warning label, remember that you are not a freak. You're just a different flavor. Because at the end of the day, it's all ice cream. Thank you once again for tuning in for another episode of MeloD Media. I'm your host, Doug MeloD, the DOUG original DJ MC, reminding you to live loud and listen more.